I ask that the quorum call be vitiated.
Without objection.
Thank you very much. 14 years ago, on November 17, 2001, families across New Jersey were still struggling with the grief of empty seats at dinner tables and closets full of clothes never to be worn again. It's 14 years ago at this time that news headlines were reflecting on one of the greatest tragedies our country had ever witnessed, which were the attacks on 9/11 of the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and in Pennsylvania. Today, the trauma for that is no longer as raw as it once was, yet we are still affected forever, and much still tries at the soul of our nation. While the sun still rises, the seasons still change, the wounds of that day may never heal. There are so many families across New Jersey who are still struggling with the aftermath of this terror, with the illness of loved ones who survived and served as first responders in the 9/11 attacks. While the debris has long been cleared and new towers now stand at the World Trade Center site, many of the thousands of brave first responders who sacrificed their safety for the good of our country are still battling very serious health issues. The exposure to debris, to dust, to other hazardous materials and chemicals on September 11th and the weeks and months that followed has caused countless chronic medical problems for tens of thousands of Americans, including many New Jerseyans. They and their families are still burdened every single day with the physical, emotional, and financial costs of the attacks on 9/11. For too long in the wake of the attacks, there were significant gaps in the access and quality of care to survivors. One such survivor, James Zadroga, a New York NYPD officer and former Ocean County, New Jersey resident, struggled with accessing care to treat his severe and chronic respiratory problems. After serving as first responder in the wake of September 11th, where we believe he acquired those serious health problems. James passed away just over 4 years after the attacks at the age of 34. Thanks to the advocacy, though, of the Zadroga family and the state and federal lawmakers, people like Senator Lautenberg, Senator Menendez, a bill was passed into law to provide health care, treatment, and compensation for survivors and first responders like James Zadroga dealing with the aftermath and effects of the 9/11 attacks. Because of the James Zadroga 9/11 Health and Compensation Act of 2010, over 70,000 first responders and survivors are now enrolled in the World Trade Center Health Program, receiving quality care. Over 5,000 survivors and first responders still require medical treatment because of their exposure and/or their service as first responders. And because of the Zadroga Act, they have had access. Because Congress failed to act, the World Trade Center Health Program expired in 2015, and without congressional action, funding for the program will run out by next year. Additionally, funding for the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund will likely expire around the same time next year as well. Earlier this month, one New Jersey newspaper's editorial board, the Star Ledger, had this to say about this body's failure to act. The bill has overwhelming support from both parties. They understand this is an American problem with victims from all 50 states, and they know this legislative solution is not radical. We take care of workers with dangerous jobs, especially heroes who risked their lives to help humanity, while most of us watched from home, paralyzed by grief. We have not just a patriotic responsibility, but a moral obligation to ensure that the Americans who sacrificed so much for the good of our country in the wake of September 11th, 2001, are treated with the respect and care they deserve. They are our heroes. They are our champions. They stood up and worked when many ran. It is incumbent upon this Congress to follow the lead of Senator Gillibrand and heed the call coming from our constituents to pass the James Zadroga 9/11 Health and Compensation Reauthorization Act. I am proud to stand with Senator Gillibrand and our colleagues in the Senate and in the House, advocates and first responders who urgently calling for the passage of this necessary legislation that reflects our values and our ideals. I would like to close with the words of a courageous Newark Fire Department captain who responded to the 9/11 attacks at great personal risk and had the following to share with my office about the renewal of the Zadroga Act. As a member of the 9/11 task force, I responded on 9/11. This volunteer state police team participated in numerous search and rescue operations on that day. The thousands of firefighters that worked that day developed medical issues thereafter, including myself. I've had 3 surgeries for thyroid cancer. I also developed the 9/11 cough and have developed side effects from radiation treatment. We are not looking to get rich. We just want to be able to continue serving as firefighters without worrying about our health because of 9/11. Those in this chamber who somehow remarkably oppose this bill need to hear this man's words, and my own as well. We cannot fail to act. By what we do here now, we not only take care of those heroes from 9/11, but we send a message to all Americans about how we stand up for those who stood for us, who fought for us, that when the most perilous times came to be, they were there for us. This country is a nation that takes care of its heroes. What we do here with this legislation will forever highlight this ideal, celebrate its truth, or it will cast a dark shadow over it. I hope today and in the coming days, we move this legislation forward and be the light upon the great men and women who are so patriotically dedicated to our nation. Thank you.